Hi there, are you ready to get started? In this course, every step of the process is going to be explained. So let's start with the first and simplest step, which is to simply create a new folder. You can name your folder filmpire underscore, and then you can use your name. In this case, I'm simply going to say JSM. Now that you have your folder, you can also open an empty Visual Studio Code window. Again, you can use any code editor of choice, but throughout this course, I'll be using Visual Studio Code for all of the benefits that it offers. Once you have the empty folder and an empty Visual Studio Code window, you can simply drag and drop the folder into your code editor. Once you've done that, you should see a screen that looks something like this. Now we can go to View and then Terminal. This is our integrated terminal that's currently in the path of our correct repository, so straight in the folder that we pulled in. Great, so in here we can initialize our React application. First, we can clear the console by running the clear command, and then we can run npx create-react-app and then / to install it in the current repository. As I've mentioned, I'm not going to give you any predefined styles or files or folders. We are going to build everything together from scratch. The whole goal here is to teach you not only to build this one project, but to teach you how to build any project you'd like. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to teach you the processes that come behind building a specific project, from thinking about the idea all the way to finding the best dependencies, installing them, and using them. Now we're going to wait a minute for our React application to initialize, and then we'll be right back. There we go. Our application has been initialized. Now let's quickly check the files and folders that we have in here. You might not see this Git folder, but that's completely fine. Then we have the node modules. This is where all the files and folders of your dependencies lie, as well as the dependencies of Create React App and the React itself. Then we have the public folder. This is where our index.html is and where our final application will be. And then the most important folder is the source folder. This is where we're going to write our React application from scratch. We also have a .gitignore. This file helps you not to push a huge folder like node modules to Git, because everybody can install their own node modules. And it also helps you not push some specific secret variables like environment variables, passwords, secrets, and so on. Then we have a package.json. This file contains all the metadata about your specific project. Is it private? What's the name, version? Most importantly, which dependencies does it have? How you can run it and build it, and specific ESLint configurations, and some other miscellaneous things. Then we have a README. Right now, we have a Create React App README, but by pressing Ctrl A or Command A and then backspace, you can delete everything. And we can type something like hash or pound, and then filmpire, and then do a dash and then type your name. In this case, I'm going to do JSM. Finally, you might or might not have the yarn lock. That's fine. This file also contains some metadata about all the dependencies. Now, how I usually like to start with React applications is to delete the source folder entirely. Right now, we have some basic app.css, app.js, tests, index, logos, web vitals, and so on. But we don't need most of this stuff right away. We're going to create it ourselves. So I'm going to right-click source and simply delete it. It's going to take a few seconds, and then we're going to create a new source folder on our own. There we go, our source folder has been deleted, and we can simply right-click and create a new source folder with lowercase letters. Once we have that, we can create the most important file in our React application, and that is the index.js. This is the starting point of every single React application. In there, we can say import React from React, and we can also say import React DOM from React-DOM. This is going to help us connect our React application to our public's index.html. Now that we have these imports, let's create the starting file and folder structure by right-clicking source and creating a new folder. This is going to be the most important folder in our source folder, and the name is going to be components. all of our React components are going to be inside of this folder, and with that, also the most important file, which is going to be the app.jsx. This is going to be the main application. Every single component has to be contained inside of this app. So inside of the app, what we can do for now is run RAFCE. This is a shorthand method for creating a React arrow function export component. There we go. And then we can simply type app inside of it. If you're not sure how to run this RAFC command, you have to go to extensions and type ES7, and hopefully it's going to pop up. There we go. ES7 React Redux GraphQL React Native Snippets. This allows you to simply run commands such as RAFCE, so the only thing you have to do is install it. Now we have our app.jsx, and we can make use of it inside of our index.js by simply importing it. So we can say import app, and that's going to be from /components and then /app. Finally, we have to make use of the React DOM by calling React DOM.render. As the first parameter, we want to pass our entire React application, and as the second argument, we want to fetch this document.getElementById, and that's going to be the root element of our entire application. Now, let me quickly explain what we just did. If you close the source and go into public, you'll see that we have a few files here. The most important one right now is going to be the index.html. Now, this might seem a bit weird, and I'm going to make the text just a bit bigger for you, but if we simply space everything correctly, I'm going to put this meta tag in one line. Also, I'm going to remove some comments, such as this one, and this one as well, and also I'm going to remove this no script. What's going to be left here is a basic HTML5 code. As you can see, we have HTML, we have the head with a few meta tags and links, and finally we have a body that has just one single div, which is div with an ID of root. And our entire application will go right inside of here. While we're here, we can also change the name. We can do it something like Filmpire. Now we can go back to our index.js, and inside of here, now it should make more sense. All of our components are going to be inside of this app.jsx, and that's the exact thing that we're going to render straight in the div with an ID of root. With that, our starting application should be done. And if we try to run this right now, we should be able to see a div that simply says app. That's going to be our starting point just to see if we've installed everything correctly and if we can get it to run. If that's the case, we can continue with the development of this great application. So to run it, usually what I like to do is just use a shorthand, which is control and then tilde. That is the sign left to the one key. So control and then left to the one key, at least on my keyboard. We can once again clear the console, and we can simply run npm start. This is going to start our React application on localhost 3000. And there we go. The text is a bit too small, so I'm going to zoom it in. And as you can see, we can indeed see the text that says app right on our localhost 3000, which means that everything we've done so far works correctly. And that was it for the first lesson. We've learned how to create a new React application using Create React App, how to open it up in Visual Studio Code, and also how to create the index.js and the app.jsx, and finally start it and see it in the browser. In the next lesson, we're going to learn how to immediately add ESLint to your project so that your code always remains up to the highest standard. Let's go ahead and do that right now.